recognized me from, I don't know, the takeover a few weeks ago, brushing my teeth and jumping out of bed. So I see the CTO over there laugh. But yeah, so everything Dr. Stephen said, just here to sow seeds in the community. And so I support the Bean Path in the operations and business development.
Nice. And we got our CTO, Ivan Walker.
Hi, I'm Ivan Walker, CTO. So a little bit about me is I'm a Jackson, Mississippi native, youngest of 14, and excited to be here talking tech. I always come from multiple angles because I'm always the IT guru in my family, giving tech support over the phone and addressing any and all issues tech. So extending that here at the Bean Path, and just happy to be here.
And last but not least, we got our marketing manager, Theresa Kennedy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Theresa Kennedy. I am the marketing manager for the Bean Path. I've been here since its inception. I am so honored to work with this great group of people. And I just realized I'm the only one that's not from Jackson here as a panelist. So, but I live here in the Metro Jackson area. I love Jackson, and I am so, again, happy to be working with the Bean Path, impacting not only the Metro Jackson area, but the entire state of Mississippi.
Well, you're still in Mississippi, and Theresa, so we'll take it. It counts for something. And we love our Alkanites. Nationally, how about we start here? What was the original vision for the Bean Path? How did the idea even come about?
Yeah, so I got so caught up and excited about telling y'all about the Bean Path. I didn't really tell y'all about myself during my own introduction. So let me switch back and back up a little bit. I'm Dr. Nashley. I born and raised in Jackson, Mississippi, Murr High School graduate, Murr Mustangs, go Mustangs, class of 03. And I also went to Mississippi State for my undergrad in computer engineering, and I went to Georgia Tech for my PhD. I ended up working at several places, including GE, IBM. I also studied abroad in a couple of places, Seoul, South Korea, France, and I wanted to, help a young lady by the name of Jewel Burks. You should check her out, Jewel Burks Solomon. I was the CTO of her startup company. We're celebrating 5 years acquisition on October 31st on Halloween, selling the company to Amazon. And so I've been in Amazon ever since, and doing great things in the Jackson, Mississippi community. So the original vision was, okay, I got money now. What can I do to give back? And it's basically, I've been trying to do that. I just didn't have the money. And so now that I had the money, I wanted to make sure that I go back. And that was the first thing I wanted to do. So as soon as our stock vests, maybe you can learn a little bit more about that. Maybe we'll do something on financial investing one day in fintech. But as soon as my stock vested, I started the Bean Path in 2018, and really we just wanted to meet up in the local libraries, Ivan and some of the other team members and just help people be there in the community so at least folks can have access to tech experts. I'm sure most of us on the call can relate to getting that call. Hey, what kind of computer should I buy? I'm in Best Buy. I see one that's $1,000. I see another one is $500. This $500 looking real good right about now. Well, okay, depending on what you're trying to do, that $500 is not going to be good for anything. And so I wanted to make sure that everybody had access to people like that and that we were giving back to our communities. And so now, fast forward 3 years, man, that vision has turned into so much more. Not only are we helping people in the community, we're still going virtual during the pandemic, but we are fully fledged jumping into a whole tech district, which we'll talk about a little bit later. But that was the overall vision.
That's awesome. And this might be a bit of a divergence, but didn't Ivan work with that same organization as well, the same company that got acquired? So what was you all's relationship before the Bean Path?
Yeah, so circling back to me saying I'm a Jackson native, Nashley and I actually grew up together. So we attended the same schools from 6th grade through high school. And so then I went to Jackson State to do my degrees in computer engineering, bachelor's and master's. And then I went to Georgia Tech, where I was there for a few years working on my PhD in electrical and computer engineering. So I was already at Georgia Tech, fortunately already in Atlanta, and Ashley was as well at the time. She connected with Jules, so she was looking for some talent to help build out the ideal. And so this is where it says, you know, your network is your net worth. And so she was able to reach into her network, and we already had that relationship where we knew each other, we knew each other's work ethic and quality of work that we produced. And so she was able to, you know, ask me, you know, would you come work for me? I think you can build it out, honestly, for what she needed. And part of me was hesitant, just more so it was something new and different. And I think ironically, I maybe had talked her into doing it a little bit. And then when she came back for me, I was like, I don't know about that. But I remember she had a conversation with me when she was in New York about taking the CTO position. And she was like, oh, it's risky. And I was like, you're never going to be this age again, not even tomorrow. So, and so, you know, I'd encourage, like, yeah, take the risk. Like, in 5 years, 10 years, who's going to care, right? Like, we've accomplished what we've already accomplished, right? We have our degrees, we have our experiences. So, you know, worst case scenario, the startup fails and you got to go back to New York, you know. Fortunately, she didn't have to go back to New York. So, you know.
I was going back to my grandma's house in Shady Oaks.
And so yeah, so that's how that came full circle. She recruited me, you know, like, what would it take, you know, and I was like, and then I wasn't really doing like what I was supposed to. My PhD wasn't giving what it was supposed to be giving. Did I say that right? And I kept trying to hold on. And she was like, bruh, go on, come on over here to this startup and help me out. And I was like, but I got to finish my PhD, but I really wasn't finishing my PhD that much. Yeah, and so the rest is history. We built out a great product and got acquired, and, you know, we're at Amazon now. We pushing the beam path, and we're trying to give other folks who are coming behind us more access and opportunity and exposure than we experienced along our journeys to this point.
That's amazing. So we talked about the startup life, part pick, Amazon, the beam path, and now we're moving on to something even bigger than that. Now we've got the Jackson Tech District. So maybe this is something that our COO, Dr. Johnson, can tell us a little bit about. What is the Jackson Tech District?
It's an amazing place to be. So the Tech District is actually inspired by the beam path. So all the work in the community, just sowing seeds and bringing the tech and the access to Jackson. So Natalie actually had this is all her vision, the beam path and the Tech District. So she decided, of course, you know, being in the libraries, having, you know, the beam path, having a home, having its own space. So she's sought out to buy a building that ended up turning into her buying 14 acres of land. And so with that, the beam path will have a space in the Jackson Tech District. So this is 14 acres of land in downtown Jackson, about a half a mile away from Jackson State, almost in the heart of downtown. And so this space will be a live work play space for everyone. And we're in the development stages of it. You can drive by Gallatin Street and check it out, Gallatin and Amit. But it will be a place of residential living, commercial space as well. So grocery store and then event space. It's gonna be a dog park. I don't know how many people in Jackson have dogs, but y'all go get y'all's dogs and get ready to walk them in the next year or two. So dog park. And we actually just got our permit a couple of months ago for the first building, which is the Old Van Horn building, where we recently had our, you know, a mixer fundraising event for the Tech District and Beam Path. And so, yeah, that's the Tech District in a nutshell.
That's awesome. That's amazing. I'm sure a lot of people are curious about how long it's going to take for us to be a living, breathing entity in the city. Do you have any answers on that?
Yeah, so upcoming, the Beam Path should open its doors its first to the headquarters in the next year or so. And so, but in the meantime, I would suggest, as we have events during that time to come out. I think one of my favorite things about this is going on this journey. And so the space where the tech district will be it has been abandoned. A lot of the space has been abandoned for most of our lives. And so being able to drive through there and see what it looks like now, and then, really taking it in and seeing when construction starts and when the buildings go up. And so in the next 2 years or so, like that whole space is going to look totally different. And so I would advise everybody that's in Jackson or you're driving through Jackson to take a look, take it all in, pick up some grass, a little dirt, hold on to it for the next couple of years.
That's awesome. I totally agree with that. And maybe this is something that Theresa can speak to, but what are some of the things that we've been doing over time with the Beam Path that's going to feed into the Jackson Tech District? Or how have you seen the Beam Path grow in the last couple of years, Theresa, since you've been with us since the beginning?
So one of the things that we're going to continue to do through the Beam Path inside the Tech District is tech office hours. So National came up with this great idea. Why don't we offer this service to persons? And it first started out at the local library, primarily at the library that Nashlie used to visit as a child, near her neighborhood of Shady Oaks, at the Mega Evers Library. And we shout out to Mega Evers Library. They have been very supportive of the Beam Path and continue to be. So shout out to Miss Ann and her staff. So that's what we started with, offering tech office hours, which is a free service that we offer every second Saturday when we were doing in person. And so now the Beam Path and tech office hours will be housed over inside the Jackson Tech District, downtown Jackson. It will be a staple for the Jackson Tech District, so we look forward to that. Also, it's the Jackson Tech District is where the Beam Path hosts its annual, or I should say annual, but it's anniversary every year. And so we just celebrated that 3rd anniversary over in the district. And it was a great time. I know it's going to get much, much bigger, much, much better over the years. And we look forward to you all joining us next year. It's always going to be in October. I can tell you that. I'm pretty sure about that. And we look forward to what's to come. There's a lot of growth and opportunities that lie within the Beam Path. People have reached out to us all across the state wanting to duplicate this program where they are, because it's such a huge need. And so I do see the Beam Path duplicating itself in other areas, training people to do and offer the same type of service and be of a need to the communities in which they are planted. So shouts out to Dr. Cephas for her vision, and Ivan, really. Ivan has been very instrumental as well. Angeline, you there?
I am here. I'm here. Sorry. I think that's a good transition into what was Jackson like when we were growing up. Like speaking to the need for something like this in Jackson. And I'll just take a quick break to say, if you didn't know, we're raising money for the Jackson Tech District. We're trying to raise $50,000 by the end of this month. So if you're supporting what we do, if you enjoy the work that we do, if you are a supporter, you like the vision, you can text to donate, text BEANS to 202-858-1233, or you can visit givebutter.com/beans. We'll have somebody put that link in the comments. But we definitely appreciate all the support we can get. Speaking of the local community, what was it like growing up in Jackson? What was the tech scene like when you were here? And we'll start with, I guess, Dr. Cephas and work our way around.
Yeah, so I think that when I was coming into tech, we had my mom who worked at the post office. Dr. Amber's mom worked at the post office too, so they knew each other. So we kind of knew each other growing up. But to work at the post office was a really good job. And so my mom was able, as a single parent, able to buy my sister and I a computer when we got to high school. And so that was, we actually were in middle school. That was like amazing to me. And so I kind of learned about tech there, and that computer and dial up, and grandma said, get out the phone, I need to use the phone because I need my internet, but she need to use the phone, and you just gotta you got to succeed to grandma because it's her house. But I think that it really was instrumental in getting me involved. And I think my 8th grade teacher was very instrumental in teaching us about science and STEM. To be honest, though, I mean, I went to a lot of camps at Jackson State for math and science, but I really didn't know what engineering was until after my 8th grade year, specifically engineering, and not just one engineering. There was like 8 different engineerings. I found out when I got to Mississippi State in a summer program for girls, and I just thought, whoa, it blew my mind. And so, you know, I look back at that though, and I think, you know, how many people, if they would have had that opportunity to learn about engineering or be in those math and science classes at Jackson State, you know, would also be interested in tech and STEM, because there wasn't a lot of people that I knew who were, you know, in STEM in my community.
I think we can all relate to that. Using the internet, get off my house phone, using the landline experience growing up. What about you, Dr. Johnson? What was your experience like with tech growing up?
There wasn't any. I found it. So I got my first computer when I was 4, and I remember this guy coming over and setting it up. And when he left, my mama just like let it sit. She didn't know how to use it. So I was paying attention when he did it, and I just started using the computer. I think I remember one day her coming in, like, you know, she didn't know what I was doing. She couldn't find me, and I was like in the room. Anyway, so I showed her how to use it pretty much. So I spent a lot of time breaking a lot of VCRs and Leapfrog tablets and all that kind of stuff. I think I was a little too old for Leapfrog. My sister had Leapfrog, but so yeah, I was always curious about things, always taking things apart, trying to figure out how they worked. And I think the very first time I experienced programming was my TI-84 calculator, I think in like 8th grade, 7th grade or something like that. It's like a little Super Mario, like a bootleg Super Mario type game on there. So you could like program it to make it do like all this cool stuff. It was basically the cheat codes before cheat codes, you know, for like all the gaming systems. So I would do that. And then when I got ready to go to college, I didn't know what I was going to major in. I don't know. And so one day my mom was like, you should major in computer science so you can make some money. And I was like, what? All right, whatever. So I looked into it and I found out what it was. I was like, oh, this is actually dope. So that's how I majored in computer science. And, you know, I had a lot of mentors along the way that really, you know, spent time with me. But growing up, I definitely understand what Nash was saying about, of course, we all know the AOL with the free CDs, you know, cancel them and it's probably why RP AOL. But yeah, AOL, Netscape, you know, SGs, all that stuff. So definitely was a part of that era. And yeah, a lot of it was, you know, because I you know, LimeWire, anyway. I think the statute of limitation is over at this point, but but yeah, so you know, just it was a lot of there was no YouTube, so a lot of things, it was kind of like, you know, took a heuristic approach and tearing up stuff and then trying to fix it again. So
as probably a lot of us did. And viewers, Dr. Amber's being so humble, but she was the first Black woman to get a computer science PhD from Purdue. Did I get that right?
Yeah, that's me. Hi, guys.
Amazing. And you went to Lanier. Did I get that right?
I did. 833 West Maple Street, for those who do not know where it's located. 833 West Maple Street. Yes, I'm a proud graduate, 2006 graduate.
I'm not even from Jackson. I know the address to Lanier High School.
Listen.
Everybody does. Y'all are some proud folks. I applaud y'all.
Absolutely.
License plates everywhere.
On the map.
Yeah. But I think that's one of the really cool things about the Beam Path, and something that I hope people really understand from viewing this live stream, is that we really are from the community. This is a Jackson-based, Mississippi-based organization that has just had all of these varied experiences in tech, had all these amazing opportunities, and we really want to cultivate more of that here. You don't have to have gone to like Harvard, you didn't have to study CS at Stanford. You can like be a Murrah graduate who went to Jackson State University, Mississippi State, have an amazing company, acquire some land and give back to your city. And Theresa, you're not from Jackson, but what was your experience growing up with tech? You with us?
Listen, I'm struggling now. So I grew up on the Mississippi Gulf Coast in a house. Our first computer, I must have been maybe elementary school, middle school, when we got our first Mac. It was turquoise. And I did have to share that with my brothers. But we mainly played games. I don't remember us really doing any real work on it, not like we do today. And my parents made sure they bought us those type of toys that were educational as well. We didn't have Leapfrog. It was some other kind of tablet we had, and we had video games and all that. Atari. I grew up with Atari. So I know I'm way older than y'all. Y'all probably don't even know what Atari is. But nevertheless, that was my experience with even technology, then slowly moving into, like I said, the computers. I remember in high school taking a computer class, and it was a mandatory elective, even in high school, to graduate. And we were like, what? You know, and learning about keyboarding and how to place your fingers on the keyboard. I don't even think they still teach that. Do they still teach that?
Well,
Mavis Beacon.
Yeah, definitely Mavis Beacon. Shout out to Mavis Beacon.
That's right. That's right.
That CD probably still on sale at Office Depot.
I still got it.
We should check that out, see if they do. But so that was my experience. I'm not anyway as techie as Dr. Cephas, Dr. Johnson, or Ivan Walker, but I am definitely, technology is a part of my everyday life. And I do appreciate the little bit that I know and a lot that I've learned, even being a part of this team with the Beam Path. I've learned, you know, when we first started, Ashley came on with all these different apps that we needed to download. And I was like, what? Why can't I just email y'all? And so, you know, because we had Slack. Then she came with, oh, you need to get Asana. We were like, what? Why can't we just tell y'all what we're doing? You know, but all of this has really helped us because all of us, as you could tell, are in different areas. And so it's really helped us in terms of moving along projects along and being able to offer what we offer. And I'm just glad that we're now at this point where we can offer, or we want to expand through our fundraising tonight, expand our programming. And so through all of that and my experience growing up has brought me to this point today.
Theresa, you said fundraising. I think this may be a good time for a commercial break.
We have commercials.
Back to you, Angela. You mentioned fundraising.
All right. So if you support the work that we're doing, if you are inspired by our vision for the city, if you want to be a part of growing Jackson and get in at the ground level, you can donate to the Beam Path by going to givebutter.com/beams, and we'll put that in the chat, or you can text to give at 202-858-1233. Text beans, like the Beam Path, Jack and the Beanstalk, 202-858-1233. Speaking of Jackson, we got a couple of questions here, and they come from a game that was actually designed by another Mississippi State engineer, Warren Wilson. The game is called Nah Bruh, and it's about things that only a Jacksonian would know, things that only a Jacktown Jew might know. So before Jackson, and audience, please participate in the comments. Let us know what the answers are you think they are, and we'll tell you what the right one is. Before Jackson, what was the capital of Mississippi?
Wait. So if I guess, do I get anything? If I guess it wrong, do I get negative points? What happens here?
If you guess right, you get the satisfaction of winning. If you guess wrong,
oh, looks like we got some.
Okay,
looks like we got some people.
Okay,
I'm gonna be quiet.
I know it was a battle and somebody won, and then
we got some guesses here. We have some correct guesses.
I'm gonna go with Natchez.
Okay.
I definitely looked at.
So we've got. Okay, Deidre's guess is Natchez. Betty's guess is Natchez. Y'all got it right. Erica said Natchez. Malcolm Conley, good guess, Meridian. Ryan also said Natchez. So a lot of history buffs here. Good job, y'all.
I was going to go with Natchez too, because that's where Jackson State University was started. So it only made sense that, great things start in Natchez.
I did not know that. I didn't know that.
Not the Whitley from a different world. Have y'all seen that meme? You went to Jackson State, graduated.
Exactly. Maybe we can find a way to give some gifts. That's not quite in the cards for the game, but just so viewers do know, we are giving away a Lenovo Chromebook and a Polaroid Now. If you've registered through the Eventbrite, the bit.ly is bit.ly/JXN Tech Talk. If you've registered and you are attending this live stream, you're eligible to potentially win a Lenovo Chromebook and a Polaroid Now camera.
I just want to say this. Looks like we got some JSU folks in the audience here. Dr. Amisha Campbell, Jerusalem, at least JSU grads. Anybody else out there? Shout out your school. Now I see Malcolm. We went to Mississippi State. All right, Malcolm, I'm in here with you, but Hell State. But yes, JSU definitely. Okay, we got some fam.
While we're on the topic, I like to say I went to state too. And we've had some conflict about that over the years because, why can't Jackson State be state? Like
I would like to say I've gone to pretty much every HBCU in the state of Mississippi. I'm a proud, attended or studied at some point at every HBCU.
Would you like for the people in the back?
All the HBC. I think I have some connections to Alcorn.
You want to just start scrolling?
I can give the CVS receipt if y'all need it. Yes, I'm a proud Jackson State graduate. I also attended Tougaloo College where I started my college career and did some studying at Mississippi Valley State University as well. So, just a little touch of.
Is that where we met at Jackson State? You and I back in about 2013? 12, somewhere in there.
Maybe 2012.
Yeah. Okay. So Amber and I met when she was doing her master's at Jackson State, and she was doing the bridge to the doctorate program, which supports you while doing your master's degree to go ahead and pursue the PhD. She finished successfully.
Awesome. And also, if viewers want to know, we do a lot of career panels. We've done a couple of panels about folks who work in the industry. We talk about mentorship and different opportunities in the industry. So if you're interested, you want to get connected with somebody, you can always email info@thebeampath.org. We'll try to set you up with the first couple of steps to success. But we really do try to be helpful and use our network where possible for people in the community. Another Jackson question. Name 5 stores that used to be in Metro Center.
I just wanted to say hello to the 2 people with USM that are in the audience. That's all I want to say.
So
that's all.
Shout out USM.
All right, the Metro stores. I got this. So people don't know, it used to be a Disney store in the Metro Center. I know because I used to walk by because I could never go inside. I could never get in. It was a Disney store. There was oh my gosh, what is it called? So Dillard's used to be called something else, but it was Dillard's. Dillard's had another name.
Gapers,
Gapers. Because there was a Ruby Tuesday. Does that count as well? I'm not gonna say that.
Hold on, I thought it was both Dillard's and Gapers, and then Gapers became Dillard's, so it was 2 Dillard's.
That's North Park Mall. There was Gapers, Dillard's, McRae's, and Sears. So, you say you thought there were 2 Dillard's? I know there were 2 Dillard's in North Park.
They're anchor stores. Sometimes they're
okay. Okay, you're right. My bad.
It used to be, so there was a Sears. I think only about 9 now. Sears. I remember when Chick-fil-A, when they put Chick-fil-A in the Metro Center the first time. It's right next to Taco Bell. So what else was in the Metro Center?
City Trends.
Was JCPenney's?
No.
Probably.
I don't think it was ever a JCPenney in the mall.
So there was also a service merchandise behind the Metro Center. I know that wasn't a question, but there was a whole shopping center behind. There was a Kmart across the street and RP Toys R Us, which is now a hair store.
Used to be we got some answers here too. Somebody said KB Toys. Sean W says KB Toys, GQ.
Oh,
K&B,
Diamond Gym.
American Deli.
Rave. Oh wow. The Metro Center, yeah, the
Craze turned
Metro
into
Center
that.
was nice.
Oh, what was the candy store?
Oh, it definitely had a candy store.
Yeah, Mr. Buckley's.
Yeah.
I don't know why that came up.
That's
We could
it.
never go in there,
That's-
but yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah, like
And
that
let's
mall
circle
used to
back
be
and give
popping.
Kent Lewis some FAMU love. We love all the HBCUs. We
Welcome
love
to the
higher
swag.
education in general.
Welcome to
I
the
see
swag.
Alcorn in there. If Teresa's not here, I don't know. I mean, she would have been all over Alcorn. So
I
I'm
think
sorry.
that's my auntie. Shout out to your auntie and Alcorn. That's the only time I support. But okay, back to the program. No,
We got a hand raised. Okay, never mind.
All right. I think we did the Metro Center some justice. That felt
Hold on, Angela. We not
thorough.
done because you can open up something. Y'all remember when the Metro Center had rides? Like it had little rides in the Metro. You know the little you could not a full like roller coaster ride, but on the downstairs area.
we must have been on something. We got rides at home. We just passed by.
Like a carousel.
Yeah, like a carousel.
Oh, they did have the carousel in the same area
Yeah.
where Santa used to be for Christmas. I
Yeah.
got you.
Yeah.
This is just a merry-go-round.
A lot of nostalgia here. This question
You
has a
can
right
You
answer.
didn't have quarters for the rides. Just say that. Anyway, sorry, Angela. Back to you.
We got rides at home.
Disrespectful. This famous Jacksonian has a library named after herself. What is her name?
Margaret Walker? No? Eudora
Eudora
Welty?
Welty.
Welty.
Okay.
Okay.
I think Margaret Walker. They have the
I'm not
Margaret
sure.
Walker.
Was she
archives, something like that.
Jacksonian?
Yeah, I didn't know she was a Jacksonian, but she definitely had a library right across from Westland Plaza if it's still open.
There's some people in here that know some of these answers. I feel like we need to do this again and have a game night. You know, I
I
think,
think
Yeah.
so. I think that's a great idea.
Plus 100.
yeah.
Okay, perfect.
What
The
is-
library's still there. Thank you.
The largest body of water in Jackson.
Pearl River.
Ross Barnett Reservoir.
You're right. I'm sorry. I was
Give
about
the
to say
people
something.
viewing a chance to guess as well, please.
Oh, I didn't know. I thought it was gay.
My bad. I was just trying to win.
Y'all are getting excited. Everyone's getting excited.
I'm just trying to play by the rules.
What
Go
is the
on.
state park that's near I-55 North? Let's look at the guesses here. Oh, well, Sean W. says the reservoir isn't in city limits, by the way. That's good to know. And the answer, Sean W. also got it right, is LaFleur's Bluff State Park.
So did y'all go to LaFleur's Bluff? Like we used to go there and swim. Yeah. Okay. Is it? Because I don't think they do that anymore, right?
I don't know. They had the best playground though.
Oh yeah. Also, Angela, I don't know if this is on there. I just thought about swimming, and y'all remember when Water World was on County Line? So we had a Rapids, and then we had Water World. No,
I remember Rapids.
So where the CarMax is, there used to be a Kmart, and if you go back towards Callaway, there's some apartments there now, but it used to be a whole water park.
Waterland.
Yeah.
No.
Wow.
I don't know that I was around then.
Yeah.
Who was Jackson's first
Oh.
African American mayor?
Harvard. Oh, I wasn't supposed to say. Let me mute my.
For the people, Angela, what years you graduate high school? I just want to set the stage here while you trying to call us old. I just want to make sure people know we ain't that old.
I graduated high school 2011.
Okay.
I'm 28.
I think Ivan it was on his, fourth career and had retired 3 times.
So I think that's quite impressive that Angela, knows about dial-up and stuff, because as you all were talking about, growing up tech, and I was thinking, man, it's very nice to be a millennial, right? Like, I was like, this must be how like older folks felt when cars came along, right? Like, I was like, because you think about computers, right? No, like there's a generation that cars didn't exist. And when we think about our generation and computers and the internet and how we process technology and things like that, I was like, I vividly remember 4th grade, we got a classroom set of computers. That was like a big deal. Like JPS was adding computers to the classroom. It was about 5. And I don't remember what we did on them, but like that was life back then, right? Like that was state of the art when I was in the 4th grade. 5 classroom computers. We were doing math, and you could do your individual learnings and things like that. And then, like Theresa was saying, played a lot of games, but just thinking, growing up is quite impressive, I think, that this group is here, because often in our environments, we're being taught things taught things that don't apply. And so now to get here with the Bean Path there, we're trying to apply this, and get people to see that connection.
Yeah, growing up is very impressive. Growing up is very impressive. Shout out to you, Angela, for growing up.
Thank you. I try. Speaking of, I guess, Bean Path related trivia, what was the Bean Barn before it was the Bean Barn? And that's, I don't expect the general public to know that, but maybe y'all can give us some origin stories here.
Should I, is this, I guess I'm the only. Okay. All right. The Bean Barn was actually the Bean Barn before we acquired it. It literally was a soybean processing facility. And there were, if you look on Google Maps, you can see there are 3 big grain silos that used to sit right behind it, where they used to keep the beans. And so it was the Bean Barn, actually. And so through the years, it was several things, a cotton gin facility. When we first moved in it, there was cotton all over the floor. You could not walk in there. And so I thought that was the coolest building. That's actually the original building Dr. Amber was saying that I wanted to purchase. Shout out to Bill and Tony Cooley, who encouraged me to take on this big project, even though I just wanted one building, but I'm sure it's going to pay off. It's going to impact a lot of people. And I'm looking forward to the generational benefits, not just while I'm here, but beyond when I'm here, when I'm gone. So yeah, that's what it was.
Nice. For people who don't know, can you describe like where in Jackson the Bean Barn is actually situated? Because there are multiple buildings within the tech district. Where's the barn?
Yeah, so the barn is right there, smack dab in the middle. So if you're driving down North Gallatin Street, if you're coming from Monument, going towards the mid, going towards downtown, you'll see the Bean Barn right there on the right. It's actually the largest structure over there. It has a red tin top, the whole tin building. It's about 17,000 square feet. And so you'll see it, it's easily, you can notice it from driving down the street.
Nice. And maybe somebody from the Bean Path team, I was just about to ask, could you all put the link to the Jackson Tech District website in the chat so people can view what the layout is supposed to look like or what it's going to look like in the future? That would be great, so folks can really see what we're building. And again,
sure.
If you're a supporter of the Bean Path, if you support our mission, if you enjoy the work that we're doing, you can donate at givebutter.com/beans, or you can text beans to 202-858-1233. That's beans to 202-858-1233. Another question here. I know we talked about all the good things that we're doing in Jackson, all the things that we had access to growing up, but what were some of the things that you thought we were missing as far as tech was concerned in Jackson growing up here? And we can start with, I guess, Dr. Johnson.
So as far as what was missing, retrospect, we didn't know what we were missing. We kind of we had what we had, and we did an awesome job of what we had. And so I know nationally, and Ivan talked about, and I know some of their journeys and just being curious about things. And tech is actually just solving problems using technology, building technology to solve problems. So I remember when I said this before, my grandma, when Hurricane Katrina happened, the lights went off and she was cooking some collard greens and cornbread, and that did not stop her. She found a match, she lit the stove, and it was hot as I don't know what in that house, but we had food. And so that's solving a problem. It's just about solving problems. And so that's what we've been doing. As I was able to travel, in and out of the country and just study, meet a lot of different people, what I learned is that from our generation, there were people who learned computer science in elementary school. And for the three of us, most of us didn't see, code or didn't see anything that, technical until we got to high school or college. And so I think a lot of what we were missing was access and exposure, because the talent is there. And this, the three of us here, it's not a one-off. Like, there are many other people in Jackson, in Mississippi, who have, who are very talented, but I just think the exposure on a large scale was not there.
I would agree. I think so. I used to work at Google, and it was surprising to me how people had made computers in school, or people had taken field trips to tech campuses. And I was like, I'm embarrassed almost at how little I know. And I think that I'm a fairly smart person. And it's not about, I guess, being smart or not smart. A lot of it really is access. And I think that's something that the broader world would benefit from knowing, is that you hear all these stereotypes about Mississippians or Jacksonians, and it's not necessarily about what our capacity to do is. It's just, we might not necessarily know that there's a whole new world out there, and it requires certain actual hardware sometimes to even access some of those worlds. So I think part of what the Tech District is also trying to do is not just talk about in a very fluffy way all the benefits of technology. I think people understand the benefits of STEM, but it's also bringing in some of the actual physical things that we need to engage with technology the way that other people have.
Yeah,
What
I'll
about
just,
you, Ivan? What
oh
do you
yeah,
have
go
to
ahead.
add?
Oh, I was just going to piggyback on that, because that's kind of what I was trying to say a little earlier, and I would extend it, right? So it's not just access. I think the importance of this particular group is often, like, as I look at education and all of that, is that even if we have access, our environment doesn't necessarily reinforce it, right? So I go off to school and I learn this subject or this thing that you're telling me is important. I come back home and we lighting that wood, we lighting that stove, and we just trying to figure out what we eating this evening, right? So there's this disconnect oftentimes for me, like I would learn these things, and then I really, when to apply them and use them seems so distant. So I think this group is able to bring that home, like, yeah, you have access, but I can tell you, oh, if you learn this right now, you can start making money tomorrow. That's one of the things Dr. Cephas is really good about. She's like, what motivates these kids? What motivates our environment? So oftentimes our education and exposure is kind of taught from a slightly elitist point of view. Like, I'm gonna tell you this and you'll understand the value of it in 15 years. Oftentimes in our environment, as we talk about Jackson and the economic outcomes and stuff, we don't have 15 years or 20 years to wait to see a return. And the reality is, now knowing what we know, you don't need to. And that's what I think those other people, like you say, at Google and the other places, they were able to get or realize the return on that much quicker than us. So they were able to get engaged and start exploring on their own. And I think that's one of the key things for me, is a passion. Like, how do we create those connections where you see the value and can start driving yourself?
I want to add one of the most fascinating things to me, just being in different environments, is having so little and doing so much. And, I look at, so, not having cable, and then we had rabbit ears when we had the TVs and we had to turn the knob, no remote control. And we would take aluminum foil and put them around the rabbit ears and pick up the Disney Channel, because that was not a part of regular, was not a part of you didn't have cable. You had to wait until the snow went away on the TV in order for the picture to come through. Anyway, that's another time. But
You talk about when TV went off, or another?
when TV went off?
Yeah, the snow. When the
Yeah, the
TV
snow.
went-
Like,
Okay.
you have to, so if you wait long enough, the snow would turn into like this,
The line.
pixelated kind of, the wavy stuff. And then eventually you'll be able to, watch Chippendale. But if you change the channel or somebody walked by and tapped the TV, then you have to start all the way over with this process. Whole another thing, I'll do a workshop about this. But so it's amazing, like, the fact that we didn't really understand the science behind it, but we knew if we stood in a certain spot in the house, we took the aluminum foil and did this. If we would take the tires off our bike and the chains off and do different cool things with them. And one of the most fascinating things is, like, the people in those same environments, if you give them, when you give them, you know, the tools, oh my goodness. So if you had nothing but aluminum foil and some broken rabbit ears, you were able to pick up BET Uncut. You know, what can you do if you have the tools to help boost you towards it? And so, you know, to what Ivan said about this group, and, you know, we sit here as graduates of some of the top schools in the country, having traveled to several countries and work in different sectors in tech. We're no different than anybody else that's sitting watching this live. Like, we have, you know, all that we've accomplished has been because people have empowered us with the tools, have nurtured us, have given us opportunities, and we've struggled. I definitely know the three of us have struggled in all that we've done. And you know, we didn't just walk into classrooms or walk into spaces and just go like, okay, I'm smart, I got it. Like, no, we failed several things. We failed. And it was the perseverance and the nurturing and mentoring that pushed us through. So thank y'all for attending my TED Talk. I did not mean for that to be so long. I think Dashley had something.
Oh, anytime, please take the floor. I just wanted to add that, you know, again, we got to tie this into the money. We've all gone into schools, talked to kids. Yeah, we can talk to them about, if they're originally interested in coding and tech and STEM, then yeah, they're already going to dive into it. But for those who are not, as soon as I mention, hey, we sold a company to Amazon, they're like, so for multi-millions. Oh, really? How do I? Let me sit up in my chair, listen to this lady. That's every kid we've ever talked to. And so when you tie it back into how can this help me doing what I'm doing every day right now, and the narrative doesn't have to be you have to go to college. The narrative doesn't have to be you got to get a PhD. There are boot camps. There's free information out there for you to learn right now. If you spend a couple of weeks, a few months even, you can already be making six figures. And that's all up to you being self-disciplined and wanting to learn and wanting to know. And I think the other thing is Dr. Amber has a brand called the Cadult Life. And I have a shirt that says, you can't be what you can't see. And so all of us out here, you know, we look a lot different. Even just being in Mississippi, most of the tech is developed in Silicon Valley and New York, overseas. Most of the teams I sit on, especially in the AI space, artificial intelligence, computer vision, cybersecurity, these people do not look like me. They are not from Mississippi. And so just to be here and say, yes, we did it. We're just like you. You could do it too. I think that's very powerful.
I love that. So I'm going to say once more, friends who are watching, if you are invested in the future of your community and you want to see Jackson as a leader in this space, please donate to the Bean Path by going to givebutter.com/beans or texting beans to 202-858-1233. And we only have about 10 minutes left, so I'll wrap it up by asking you all about what your vision for Jackson is maybe 10 years out, and we'll conclude it by announcing the raffle winners. Does that work? So Dr. Cephas, you're envisioning Jackson in 2031. We're on the campus of the Jackson Tech District. What do you see?
Wow. Okay. So, you know, we have every major tech corporation plugged into the tech district that you can imagine. Every research lab has a portion of, has some input into what we're doing, has some opportunity to offer people in Mississippi. Every top startup company, incubator, accelerator is tied into what we're doing to help promote economic development in Jackson, in the greater Mississippi. We also have activities for youth to just pull up and just have fun, fly some drones, hang out in the park, sit by the water fountain. My personal favorite is the tech garden that's in the back of the bean barn, where we have AI sensors connected that tell you exactly what crops to plant, when to water the plants. Everything is automated. You learn a lot about how to, you know, produce the highest yield in your plants when you're planting vegetables and flowers. We have screens everywhere. We have all sorts of AI and automation. And it's not like the scary type. It's like the type that you want to actually be a part of and that you want to actually work with because it helps improve your everyday life. Everybody in Jackson from K through 12 walks away with every single emerging technology education, whether it be, like I said, AI, cybersecurity, cryptocurrency, NFTs. There will be no foreign concepts at the dinner table in Jackson, Mississippi, and that's my goal.
Beautiful. Lovely. What about you, Ivan? What do you see?
+1. And I see a flourishing pipeline, right? So the cornerstone university in Jackson is Jackson State University in my mind, right? And it's the urban university. It's centrally located in the state. And I would like to see that engineering program grow and flourish to provide the tech talent that's going to be needed at the tech district. So part of my work even now is what does that look like? Taking some of these things that I'm talking about in theory about how I see education and how we can shift it and applying that so that when we talk about tech, you know, we think high tech, we think computers, but we don't think about paper. I have a tablet that's not an iPad, and I was explaining it to a colleague. This is high tech, and it's like, why? And I said, because actually writing on glass consistently can cause copper tone. Paper is non-trivial in the way it's designed. And so I have this tablet that's designed to mimic paper, and I write a lot. And so I want to expand that notion of tech, right? It's not just coding, it's not just computers, but it's, you know, I knew tech probably more than others on this call because I think about it, I didn't even know I knew it, but my dad had me helping when we were growing up. We were replacing starters and alternators and repairing vehicles, right? And so bridging that gap between these real world things and this engineering background, right? Where, you know, we aren't just teaching the theory of engineering, but we're also teaching the application, right? Like when you think about, you know, my background's computer engineering and I did motors and stuff, you know, and you think about the alternator on the car, like I love to see this gap bridge where we're learning and providing this reinforcement back to the community and, you know, lifting from the bottom.
+1, as you say. Dr. Johnson, what about you?
So I don't, mine is more of a feeling. So I definitely have a vision of what it looked like, but mine's more of a feeling, and I'll describe it as for those who used to go to Jubilee Jam. It feels like Jubilee Jam. It feels like the first time I was riding on I-55 at about 9 o'clock at night, and I saw the Mississippi State Fair for the first time, and my eyes just lit up. It feels like NYSP at Jackson State and Tougaloo. It feels like jumping in the deep end at LaFleur's Bluff and not really knowing how to swim. It feels like community, feels like love, feel like, you know, culture, and just taking all of Jackson and, you know, my grandparents walking in the civil rights, marching in the march, when Jackson State first got the Walter Payton, when it feels like, it just feels like home. It feels like a place for everybody. When there was nothing in Madison but trees, that's what it feels like. And so I think, you know, as I often do sit and just visualize and just, you know, go on an adventure, use my imagination of walking through the tech district. And so for me, it's a feeling.
That's all so beautiful. Thank you so much. We have reached the end of our program, so I'm going to announce the winners of our raffle. Hopefully everyone's going to leave this experience more inspired than they were when they came. But as an incentive to kind of sweeten the deal, we are giving away a Lenovo Chromebook as well as a Polaroid Now. So the winner of the Lenovo Chromebook is Sean Winters. To claim your prize, if you could DM us on Instagram right now, the words "Grow the Bean" to claim your prize. And the Polaroid Now is going to Jermaine Flood. Our Instagram is @thebeanpath. If you all could DM us "Grow the Bean" to claim your prize, so we know that you're actually present and accounted for. We'll take a second to wait on that, and then just let everybody know that if you've enjoyed this program, if you enjoy the idea of a tech hub in Jackson, if you are a fan of innovation, please give to us at givebutter.com/beans, or you can text beans to 202-858-1233. Are there any last words that our founder or CTO and COO want to say?
We need you. Yes.
Yes.
Grow the
Yes,
bean.
grow the bean. Like she said, I really appreciate it. You know, I had no idea this would be this big today. I just wanted to help a few people in the libraries, and you know, it's definitely been a great experience, a great journey, and we're happy to take this journey with you all. So definitely, please help us. We can't do it without you. Thanks so much.
Okay.
Anything from you, Mr. CTO?
Yeah, I just want to say, you know, there's been lots of talk recently after Black Lives Matters and everything, you know, since COVID. And, you know, I want to say, you know, if you're serious about supporting Black tech and Black founders and diversity, then you can't ignore a place like Jackson, Mississippi, where the population density of African Americans is 80%, or right at 80%, according to the 2010 US Census data. And so saying that is saying that we don't need to be fighting over the airport and the leadership, but we need to give Black leaders a chance to make mistakes. We need to give them the resources to learn and grow, and stop this false notion of perfection and let the innovation happen naturally. So we need resources, we need opportunity, and we'll show you what we can do, as we already have, as Dr. Amber stated. We can do a little with a lot. A lot with a little, sorry, got that backwards.
You communicated. Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. We really enjoyed it. We hope you all have enjoyed it as much as we have. And stay tuned for what's next from us. Take care.
Thank you all.